Yeah, and that's what I think is so. And I think as a whole, and like if you're in an SEC camp or you're in a Big Ten camp, you're gonna kind of shit on the Big 12 for this. But as a college football just connoisseur and as somebody who just loves the chaos and the excitement that comes with college football above any other sport in any other league, the power vacuum in the Big 12 is going to be crazy to see how it shapes up. The conference is going to look so different than it does. I mean, we're obviously new teams and new structures, but just the dynamic of these teams in this league is going to look so different in 5 years. It'll be almost unrecognizable. And there's 10 fan bases in this league that thinks that they could be the new kingpin in the Big 12. And like I said, as long as they keep those auto bids in the college football playoff, they're going to have an opportunity to compete on the sport's biggest stage every single year, whether it's TCU getting back to, developing NFL talent, or Coach Prime, if he can find some type of success, you capture some momentum, or Coach Gundy knows the heartland as well as anybody. Iowa State pulls out some wins. They probably feel pretty good, especially with as young as that team is. They could capture some momentum. Texas Tech loves their new coach. Teams like Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, and BYU, they think they're finally getting their fair crack in college football. You have all these teams that think that truly feel like they have an opportunity to compete, where you look in the Big Ten, it's like, yeah, Minnesota likes PJ Fleck, but you really think that you're going to go toe-to-toe in a conference that's going to get significantly harder to win?
Yeah, this is a really interesting discussion, because you look at the Big 12 and you feel like it's wide open. And we've talked about that in previous podcasts as well, is there are opportunities there. I mean, it is saying who wants to grab it? Who wants this opportunity? Because you can find a lot of success quickly in this new era of the Big 12 if you have the right formula. If you're Big 10, on the other hand, I mean, for some of those programs that are kind of sitting on that average scale or can't get through, and, not to let's talk Big 10 West for just a minute. That's a situation where all those programs have found success at times in the last 2 years. They've had quite a few representatives in the Big 10 championship game on that side of the bracket just in the last 5 years. But overall, once they add the two California schools, Oregon, Washington, those are right now 4 top 25 teams in the country. Oregon and Washington are top 10 teams. USC looked pretty lost last week, but that's a top 15 team with a quarterback that will probably be a top pick, if not next year's draft, the year after. And that's scary. You're Minnesota, you're a little bit worried of, do we have enough? If you're Wisconsin, do you guys have enough? Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska even. I mean, how do they adapt to that? And I don't know if those opportunities are there as much. In fact, I don't believe they are right now compared to like the Big 12, where, shoot, you can make an argument all 16 teams when we get to our full conference next year. I mean, so many of them are going to be looking and saying, there is no historical powerhouse in this conference. There have been teams that have had great stretches. There are teams that have seen success in major bowl games, but there's not, historically, not a lot of national championships in this new version of the Big 12. So there is opportunity there, and who's going to seize it is the question.
And yeah, like I said, I think that's what makes this conference so exciting. That's why we do our whole show on it, because it's just so exciting. And even the schools that are kind of down on their luck, like Arizona State and Houston, minus what they did Thursday night. You look at it's a different thing. But you look at what Coach Prime is doing at Colorado, and you think, as a fan, if you're like, if we could just get this coaching hire right, if we can just get this offseason right, on top of the fact that this conference is wide open, why can't it be us? You're absolutely right. Every single one of these teams has some bit of optimism and hope that you can't find in any other conference.
No, you're dead right, Brandon, because again, SEC for Texas and Oklahoma, they're going to go swim with the Sharks. And I'll tell you what, just even 2 months ago when we started our show back in August, we had serious doubts of, are these schools ready? And Oklahoma especially, I had concerns about, especially how difficult their 2022 year is. Now, they look pretty good. Texas is definitely trending in the right direction. And SEC is having a kind of a bizarre, like, down year a little bit just based on how they've done historically. But some of those big powers, Alabama's still tough, but you just don't feel like their team is as good as they have been in the past. Same with Georgia. They're a tough team. They could easily win it all, but you don't feel like they're as good as the last 2 national championship teams, and they've just lost star tight end Brock Bowers for a few weeks. And then A&M, boy, what a fun time. I'll tell you what, we should low-key devote a segment just to the Jimbo watch and that chaos that's going on out in East Texas, because that's chaotic right now with that $90 million buyout. Auburn's always chaotic, it seems, last 2 years. LSU, Brian Kelly's continuing his fake Southern accent. I mean, it's just mayhem right now. And it's, and same SEC, though, still has some big juggernauts. Big Ten has juggernauts. ACC still has Clemson, Florida State. Notre Dame has their weird deal where they're playing a few games a year and then a full member in all the other sports. So again, you're a Big 12 player, coach, you have chances in the coming years and the door's wide open.